friends, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today we have a review of the MIYA solid watercolor. Now I'm going to try something different today. I'm going to unbox this because I never do that, and then by the time I show you the product in the review, it looks all like gross and janky and used and dirty. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to like unbox it. I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to try to not lose the footage of this unboxing so that I can actually add it to my review, because I will want to use this for a few different projects before I give a review, but I thought you guys might like the satisfying unboxing. It's enticing. Okay, so it comes in this plastic outer sleeve, and oh, it's packed in there so tight. It came in a bubble mailer from Amazon. Oh, we've got a swatch card here and a little guide of the different color offerings they have. I don't know if you can get like the 12 and 24 colors on Amazon, but you could probably somewhere. I don't know. Oh, I haven't done any research on this. This is just the unboxing. But, you know, unboxings do really well on YouTube, and apparently you don't really need to have a lot of research to create these videos. I should probably have some, like, I don't know, some, like, very soothing music in the background. I probably should zoom out a little bit. Apparently I can't keep things in the frame. We've got a cute little pencil, an HB, which is a number 2 pencil, with some, this is weird, look at this. What the heck is this? Is a deer with a flower on its head. What the heck is that? Can you even focus on that? That's bizarre. Let's see. Can you see that? What kind of artwork is that? What? The graphic design department signed off on that, huh? That's weird. And then, hey, actually, this looks like a pretty good brush. This looks like it looks like it's probably a golden Taklon brush. It's pretty springy. We'll have to give that a try as well. And it looks like I'm going to need to use a knife here because it is shrink wrapped. So I've got my little knife. And I'm just going to slice along the gutter here. Well, it is very well packaged, so that's nice. So you shouldn't get it damaged in transit anyway. This came directly from the company. They did ask if they could send this to me for a review, and they sent it to me. It came via Amazon, in an Amazon bubble mailer. And oh, look at that. It looks very futuristic. So we've got, I would say this is probably a mixing area here, although it's clear. So if you're going to use this for a mixing area, you're probably going to want a piece of white paper underneath it, or maybe just use a plate or something. I don't imagine the clear, well, it might get stained up and look gross, so you might want to do that. I'm going to see, oh, you know what though? Maybe, I kind of wonder if maybe it has a secret thing. Oh, crud. Well, let's look at this. You take this out. Thank goodness only one fell out, because otherwise I wouldn't know what the heck to do. Well, I guess you could use this. I'm trying to see if this will come out. I don't think it does. It almost feels like there should be like a secret compartment or something in here. It's, you know, because like this is a different piece of plastic. I want to take it apart. See, this is the stuff you don't get to see usually when I'm getting something new. You don't see me destroy it, potentially. It feels like this wants to come off, but I don't know what the purpose of it, if it did come off, be. Well, you know, you could take it apart like this. This thing here, though, I mean, you know, it does feel kind of like blister packaging, but it is relatively, let's just put that right on there. I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything. It is relatively sturdy. Oh, and you know what? Most of those pans are glued in, so that's why they didn't all topple out when we did that. That's actually probably a good thing. So, some of these weren't glued in too well, but yeah, they're an extruded pan watercolor. They look pretty decent. They get a little gloss to them, so hopefully they have plenty of binder. Not too much, not too little, just right. So we will see. I'm going to use this brush to fill in the swatches, and maybe I will time-lapse that. Won't that be satisfying? I need to get a jar of water, because apparently I'm not all that prepared. Okay, I got my brush. I got 2 jars of water. I need to orient this so that it's the same as my swatch, because the swatch is made in the same pattern, which I think is really handy. I like to have my swatches match, like the order that everything's in. So I'm not going to pre-wet. I want to see how strong these, oh my gosh, these are really strong colors. I want to see how pigmented they are without adding, without pre-spraying. I think that's a really good measure of the quality of the paint if you don't need to pre-spray it, if you just kind of use a wet brush and see how it goes. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I think I might make these a little bit bigger because I've kind of gotten a little sloppy out of the lines, and I do like to have a larger swatch, so I think I'm just going to like extend them beyond the lines a little bit. It's kind of a nice black, so I'm trying to figure out if this swatch might go like that. The swatch is in Chinese, I think. Let me see, does it say? I'm assuming they're made in China. Oh, yeah, made in China, right there. And that big bold sticker they put on there for us Americans. Everything else is in Chinese, though. Yeah, okay. Well, gee, I'm impressed by that first color. Now, I typically don't use black, but sometimes you want it. You know, you're doing something like graphic. Now, what is this color? This also appears to be probably like a Payne's Gray or something. I bet they have, I'll put a link to the Amazon listing. I bet they have like the chart. Oh, I'm just kind of spreading that out. That's kind of pretty, actually. That's a nice, I would say that's a Payne's Gray. I bet they have a nice, see, I can't do this, and I can't unbox and talk. Unbox and talk. That should be a series. Not one done by me, though, apparently. This is kind of a pretty color. It's kind of a dull, I wouldn't call it a raw sienna. I kind of call it maybe like a cypress brown. It's not bad, though. My first impressions are positive. So the reason I don't do like unboxing and first impressions and call it a day, and I usually don't do this at all because I tend to just kind of get excited and jump into using the product, and then that's that. Is because you can be in a great mood one day and try something out, or you could just swatch something out and hey, the swatches look good, but then you go to paint it and then, oh wait, they're not performing very well in an actual real life painting situation. So that's why I don't like to do that. I see that a lot, and you know, hey, I don't fault people, because yeah, you're excited, you want to show it off. Well, it's pretty. Unboxing videos do very well on YouTube, but I think you need to use something a few times to make sure that you are accurately assessing it. Now, something I'm noticing about this brush that's a little irritating is that there are, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a couple hairs sticking out of the side. Maybe it's just one thick hair, I don't know, but I'm going to cut it off because it's very annoying. And I'm probably going to get some blossoms there because I do have a little bit of a puddle going, so. Oh, and now it just went away. Oh, there it is. It's kind of hard to see. A little brush surgery there. And it's, you know, it's a free with purchase brush. I'm not gonna fault the set for that. And of course, you know, hey, let's be honest, the set was free to me, but I do base it on what the retail price of it. This retails for $20. So what I'm looking for here, I'm expecting this to be on par with like the Pretty Excellent paints, which are also $20 for a set of 36 half pans. And those look to be about half pans. Maybe they might even be a smidgen bigger, but I don't know if it's because they're cut on an angle they look a little bigger. I reckon they're probably pretty darn close to a standard half pan. I really like that Payne's Gray. Now that that's drying and I'm seeing a little bit of texture in there, I really like that. You definitely don't need to pre-spray the colors. I will probably end up time-lapsing a bunch of this because do you really want to hear me talk about all these? I can't even imagine you'd want to hear me talk about these colors one by one. Maybe you would. Oh, this could be one of your satisfying fall asleep videos. That's what the kids like. I'm trying to do what the kids like, right? This one looks like a light red, or English red, or Indian red. And the reason they call it Indian red is because of the clay that they would source in India, and that's where they would get that pigment. And of course, there were similar mines in England. And sometimes it's called light red. But it's basically that PR 101 red iron oxide. This color looks promising. It looks like it might be a nice burnt umber. Now, of course, a swatch like this isn't going to test transparency. I should be doing a double swatch at the same time, but I'll probably just, I can't focus on talking and swatching and doing a transparency swatch. I should have just drew some lines on this, but I've already started this, so that'll have to be my off-camera time because I just can't cope with all those things. I'm good at multitasking, but not if I have to talk at the same time. I don't know why that is. Now, this one also looks kind of like a light red or an Indian red. That's kind of a pretty color. This would be a nice color to tone down like an acid green, kind of, like to mix in with that, to get some like earthy olives, some earthy olive greens. That's good. This is an interesting texture to it. That one doesn't have much of a texture, and actually as that one dries, it's leaning more purple, and this one is leaning much more orange, and it's giving me a little more texture. That almost has like a little like a caput mortuum color, but not quite as dark. It's interesting. Oh, it's interesting colors, I have to say that. Like not your, they haven't all been like your run-of-the-mill colors. This looks like a yellow ochre. Oh, that's a nice saturated yellow ochre. As saturated as yellow ochre gets. Pretty strong. Your earth tones do tend to be like the real McCoy, even in the cheap sets, because your iron oxide pigments are very economical to produce. So brands tend to just use those. Now this looks like might be a Van Dyke brown. It looks an awful lot like that burnt umber. I'm just assigning names because there's no names that I can see, and I'm just going by customary paint names because that way if you're following along, if I'm doing a tutorial and you're following along with Winsor Newton or Daniel Smith or whatever, you know, they're going to be using some more customary artist names. Now this is a gorgeous, this looks like a nice burnt sienna, honestly. Look how dark that pan is. This is going to be a nice transparent burnt sienna. Maybe it's a transparent brown, although usually transparent brown's a little bit warmer than this. That's a nice color. Geez, you know, I am enjoying this. Now, I've got 2 jars of water, but I've been cleaning my thing in the dirty water here, and I don't have any muck yet, so that's good. So that's going to be showing that these are somewhat transparent, although I do need to do a swatch that's got the black lines, the black permanent marker lines, so that we can see. Now that's a lovely opera rose, I would say. And when you're looking at paints now, these aren't going to have light fastness ratings. Maybe they do on Amazon. Honestly, this is a first impressions for sure. I haven't done a lick of research on these. Although I think Kimberly Crick Art has done a review on these, I believe. And actually, that's part of the reason I said yes when the woman reached out to me, because I recalled her doing a review on them, and they look so dang tempting. And somehow I managed to resist. Ooh, now look at that. That's like a permanent rose. That's pretty. I like that. That's a lovely color. Now that's raised. I was just curious about like the areas here, if they were raised or debossed. Because if they were debossed, you could sneak another color in there if you wanted to, like from a tube or something. But they're raised. They probably do that so that you don't think you're missing something, like you don't think that a pan fell out. Now this is an emerald green, I would say. This video is going to be so long, maybe I should just post the first impression. I don't know. I don't want my channel to be full of first impressions. Because sometimes they're not accurate. And on my channel, you do get a second chance to make a first impression. Oh, look at that. That one is, I would say it's a phthalo green. Phthalo greens are nice also to mix with oranges and yellows to create some earthy greens. Now boy, that one really, I'm surprised at how dull that one is when it dried. Because I think it started off more like one of these 2 greens, more like this green. But we'll have to see how that one dries and see how they compare. I really like that sap green there. I think that's pretty. I like how they made the swatch. I think that's nice when they include a swatch, because then you can get right to it and you don't have to make your own. I need a little more water on there. So far I'm impressed that these respond so well to a wet brush right off the bat without any pre-wetting. Usually with student paints, you want to just give them a spray, pre-wet them if they're stubborn, but these are not stubborn at all. Man, it's late in the day and I'm bad at shapes today. I've been stressed out. I've been stressed out. This is just the type of project that I need. Are you stressed out today? Well, might I suggest kicking back and enjoying some swatching. You might be bored, but you won't be stressed. This is pretty. This looks like, oh, it's almost like a Prussian blue, but I would say it feels a little bit grayer. Let me blot out some of that water. I got a little bit too much water in there, I think. Let me add a little bit of darker here so we can see. That's a nice color. That's almost like a strong Mayan blue or some sort of Prussian blue, but it doesn't seem as dark as Prussian blue. It seems more saturated than an indigo. It's lovely. Boy, these are nice. And honestly, I was not in a great mood today, so these might be really nice because I'm like, a lot of times if I'm in kind of a crummy mood for whatever reason or stressed out, like whatever I touch, I'm just like, so aggravated. I get so aggravated so easily, but these are not aggravating me one bit. Already though, I'm seeing there might be a couple too many samey greens. There's a nice May green or grass green, depending on what you like to call it. And there's not that they're bad greens, it's just they're going to need a little coaxing to look realistic. Let's do this nice cyan blue. I do notice they feel a little bit like, well, what's the adjective I want to use? They're kind of like gelatinous, I guess. Like, I know a lot of artists would call them creamy, but I don't think that's the right, I don't want my watercolors to be creamy. That is not a quality I want my watercolors. I want them to be transparent and vivid. But the texture on here kind of has this little bit of a like a gelatinous syrupy texture. And I see that sometimes, like the Art and Fly watercolors are similar to that. So I'll have to see when these dry if I end up getting a gloss on the surface, because sometimes with paints like that, when you apply them thickly, they create a gloss, and I think it's due to the fact that and you see it sometimes with like the Gansai Tambi paints. I think it's because in China and other Asian countries, they tend to use these on rice paper and other unsized paper stocks, and so they need that like viscosity to keep the paint from feathering on those unsized papers. So, and it does impede the flow. So we'll see that when we, I'll probably talk about that. I'll probably do some demos that will be in other videos, but we'll talk about that when we get to the review portion. But that's kind of you have the aspect of it not feathering, but you lose the flow ability. In my experience anyways. Oh, now this is pretty. Now that looks like a phthalo blue. This looks like a Prussian blue right here. Now look at that one. That color there, that as it's drying, it's almost like a teal. It's almost like a teal gray. And you really do want to swatch these out. And this paper seems fine that I'm swatching on. It's not giving me any issues. Because you definitely want to be able to see what those colors are, because they look so dark in here, which I'm hoping is going to be because there's not a lot of optical brighteners. And well, that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see. You never can really tell until you use them in some applications, and you can't really tell the transparency until you paint them over a black line, and you can see if there's any grit or how much of the line it covers up. And some watercolors are opaque, but there shouldn't be like, I would highly doubt to be like cadmiums and other mineral pigments that would give an opacity, because they are more expensive, and you wouldn't find that in a $20 set of paints. I'm a sucker for novelty palettes. It's very difficult for me to resist them. I can usually resist, well, yeah, I don't resist. There is another one that's by MIYA, and I think it might be the same quality of paint, and it looks like it's like in the cutest little like pod. It's like this little pod, which I think are water cups. I think that you can use them as water cups. And then the palette it flips open in like a Z formation so that you have a palette on each side, but then when you fold it up, you've got the open palette on the bottom, which I would just think would be kind of messy. So that's what kept me from that one, but it's so cute. And it comes in like mint green and pink and yellow. It's adorable, but I have managed to resist that one. But it's hard because it's very cute. And I think the quality of the paint is decent. I think it's probably similar to this. There's been a lot of really decent, inexpensive paints around these days on Amazon. I did hear that, and I don't know if it will affect Amazon. I think it would. I think it would have to, but I have heard that the shipping rates have gone up this year, and a lot of it hasn't been passed on to the consumer yet. The companies have just absorbed it, but especially from Asia to America, because there just isn't the traffic for like passengers and oil and things like that. There aren't those planes and boats coming over as frequently, so the shipping's gotten expensive. I heard it's up like 700% or something, like the prices. So I don't know if I'm gonna grab a marker, and I am gonna color in. I think I need to refill this marker, but maybe I can get enough oomph out of it. This is the white block, so I want to color that in just so I can put a stripe of it and see if that's an opaque white or if it's a transparent mixing white. Oh my gosh, we're still doing this, huh? I just looked at the time, 15 minutes. I guess it's not that bad. Yeah, so I'm wondering if these inexpensive watercolors from China are not going to be inexpensive for long. So who knows? Who knows? If that happens, I mean, I guess I'll be, it will make the like American brands look a lot more reasonable, unless they also increase their prices. But it'll be a wait and see type of thing. I don't think retail prices on stuff have gone up much in the last 20 years on art supplies. What you pay has gone up because, like, I noticed like discounts and stuff have been less on the like art supply stores online. But as far as like the retail, I don't think the retail's gone up as, since the 90s, if that. Because I remember thinking how expensive it was and then finding out about catalogs and then being like, ooh, I'm going to buy my stuff here. Or at least check the catalogs. And oftentimes, but you had to order so much back then. You had to order like $100 worth of stuff to get, a reasonable shipping. There wasn't even free shipping. I mean, a lot of times I would check the prices of catalogs versus my local art store, and I'd end up buying at the local art store because local art stores didn't jack up their prices as much as like the big box stores do now. But they also didn't have like, sales all the time. So, we pay the same amount probably, but we buy more because we think we're getting a good deal. Ooh, this is a nice ultramarine. I am noticing that texture though on the tops of the paints, so we'll have to see how that actually works out in a real life demo. So generally what I'm doing, that's an interesting texture on there. Oh, it looks like it might be a pretty teal. Generally when I do a review, I do all this behind the scenes, and then I will do a few tutorials with the paints, and I will, dole them out over a few weeks. And then after I've done like usually about 3 paintings with a set of watercolors, I will come back and give my review. And so after this portion of the video, when I come back onto the video, you will see I will already have done those other paintings, and I will have a final review for you as well as another swatch to show you. So that's what you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of creating a review. That's why I don't just do an unbox, because it's very, like, right now I'm like, oh, these are awesome, everybody go buy a set. But after I use it a few times, you'll see any flaws that are going to be apparent. You may find other things that are better about it that you didn't realize. And I think that's kind of important, because even though it's only 20 bucks, 20 bucks are still 20 bucks. And if you're trying to decide between getting something like this or saving up and getting professional paint, getting like maybe 4 tubes of professional paint or something on sale, then if you buy this and you're not happy with it, well, it would have been much better just to buy those better paints. So that's why I do them the way that I do them. But if you like this little unboxing portion of the video, then you can let me know in the comments below. But I'll see you in a second on this video, but much time will have elapsed. Woo, power of YouTube. Okay, it's been about 2 weeks since I filmed that first clip when we took a look at the MIYA watercolors, and now I feel like I can give a good review. I like to use things a few times on a few different days over the course of time to make sure that I'm not having a bad day or an overly great day, or my mood is not somehow interfering with my review. So the good news is I've been really pleased with this set of paints. And I did find that you can take this lid off if you want to, although I'm always a little concerned with plastic lids, taking them on and off too much, because they could eventually not go back on and stay on well, and then if you're like traveling with it, it could come off and be kind of a pain. But you could remove that if you wanted to without breaking it. I think if you're going to do that, I would take the lid off and put it in its box, like the little box that it came with, and just store it, and then put the lid on if you're going to go travel with it, rather than take it off every time you use it. That would just be my opinion. You can do whatever you want. The thing I did find this to be useful for, because it's not a great mixing surface, because it's clear, you're going to see whatever's underneath, and plus it's curved, so stuff's going to roll together. Use it to put your swatch. You can see what your colors are, and this swatch, like I mentioned before, was included, so it's great because it shows you the order in which all your paints are. Because this is a novelty palette. It's got an unusual design, and that just makes it really quick to tell what you have. Now, I did make a swatch here on the paper I usually use, just to see how similar it is to other paints and do my basic testing. So I did a swatch, and then I did a glaze, and so the colors here are much more vivid than on the pre-made swatch, because I have the extra glaze on it. Plus I did that straight from just wetting my brush and going to it. I didn't pre-activate the colors, didn't spray them or anything, just went right to it. I think I showed that in the first clip. And yeah, I'm really impressed with the transparency for most of the colors. The only colors I see opacity would be like in that English red there, the yellow ochre. Oh, it looks like I forgot to glaze that brown. This brown here looks like a raw umber that's got a little bit of opacity, but in the black. But the other colors are nice and clean. They mix really well, and are very transparent. I'm very, very pleased with these paints. So for a $20 set of paint, I think it's a wonderful deal. Now, something else I just did right now, because I wanted to compare these to other brands that I think they're similar in quality to, and I just did some quick color mixing swatches with my most similar colors in different brands. So the MIYA is right up here. That's the set we just were reviewing today. I compared it to Cotman, the Pretty Excellent, Artsy set of 24 half pans, the Altenew set of 24 half pans, and your basic fan palettes, which all seem to be the same paints from Superior. I also believe that the Artsy paints are made by Superior, and I think that maybe the Altenew paints might be made by Superior. I'm not 100% sure on that. Very comparable. I always find that the budget paint set to beat is the Pretty Excellent set. And while the consistency of the pans were a little different, I found them to be very equivalent in quality. Actually, the MIYA paints reminded me a lot of Winsor & Newton Cotman paints. So that might be a good barometer. If you like Cotman, then you will love those. Those are much cheaper than Cotman. I do think that the MIYAs might reactivate a little bit easier, but it was very similar. It was very similar. So this is the Cotman set of 45, also the same as the Phoenix set, is like 99% sure. Very, very similar. The pans here do seem like they may be a little bit bigger, but it could just be the angle they're cut on. But like even the surface texture of the pans are very similar, and the texture of picking up a color was very, very similar. Let's pick two colors that look very similar. Let's try that one. Reactivate very, very similar. Let's see, that one's awfully close to this. Just the feel on the pan feels very similar. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're a very similar formulation, because Cotman outsourced their paint manufacturing to China about 4 years ago, and that's when a lot of really good paints, really good student grade paints started coming out. I know a lot of people give Cotman crap. They don't like Cotman paints. I like Cotman paints. I think that that they're a good student grade paint. They are a lot pricier than these budget brands I'm mentioning. I think this set would be anywhere between $60 and $100, whereas this set of 36, and that's 45, 40, I think it's 48. No, it's only 40. It's a set of 45, and it's like between $60 and $100. And this is a set of 36 for $20. So a very good bargain. most similar to the Cotman and Phoenix paints, in my opinion. Definitely equivalent to the Pretty Excellent. And again, I'll show you my swatch here just so you can see. I'll show you the swatch of this and the Pretty Excellent because those are kind of my two budget paint picks. Very, very similar in quality. Both have good color selections. Just, I think it would depend on, like, if you're a floral artist, you might prefer the Pretty Excellent because there's more reds, and there's fewer of the reds in the Pretty Excellent. So there's more. It seems to be more browns in the MIYA and more reds in the Pretty Excellent. But anyway, very, very comparable. I would recommend either of them. I don't think you can go wrong with either. There's no mixing space on this, but there is on the Pretty Excellent. So if you're trying to decide, those are some options. You will need a plate or something to mix. So let's look at some mixes. So I showed you just I showed you just a very quick color wheel there. But I also just did a color strip here with a cool colors, very beautiful gradient of colors. I did a warm primary gradient, very clean mixing, very pretty. Flow is good. I just did a quick little like artist trading card rose just to test out flow. The flow is decent, not super gushy, but doesn't just sit there like a bump in a log either. It's a medium flow, I'd say, watercolor. Here is a final artwork I did. I have a tutorial for this. It was a live stream on my channel. The glazing was great. The colors built up nicely. They're very transparent. I had this is pen and ink with watercolor over it, so I can still see my pen and ink. This would be good for anybody that likes to do ink and wash or wants to color stamped images on watercolor paper, because you're just going to get that really pretty sheer color. And then I want to share something I did today in my sketchbook that I'm thinking about filming a tutorial for, because I think it came out really good. It was just a little imagination landscape here. I do it on better paper though because my paper was tearing a bit, but very easy to work with, just very nice paint for the price. It's you really can't beat it. So I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. I think this is a wonderful set of paints, and it's novel and fun and cute. I think it would be a really nice gift too for any artist, because the quality is decent and it's novel. So even if it is somebody that has more expensive paints, I think something like this would be fun and cute to just to have and use maybe while you're traveling, or maybe taking on vacation where you're worried that you might like lose an expensive set of paint. I also want to remark on the brush that came with it. I usually don't put too much faith in like included brushes because I'm really reviewing the paint, not the brush. But the brush has a really nice razor sharp point. Let me grab a scrap of paper here and I'll show you. I'll just paint on the back of this because that painting was nothing to write home about. By the way, an olive jar is like the best water container because a paint puck will fit in the bottom of it, and it's fatter at the bottom, so it's less tippy. So if you got kids, oh, whoops, there you go. See, I told you could take the lid off. I did that by accident. Might need to put a sticker on the side that you're supposed to open so I don't keep popping the lid off. Well, I can fix that on my own time. So I'll just show you the brush quality really quick. Let's see, what color shall we use? It is a really pretty Payne's gray in there. We can use that. So you can get a really nice fine point. You can press it to get wider strokes. You can use it on its side. Really nice strokes on there. The handle's a little light. It's definitely a, I would say a softwood handle. So it's not an expensive brush by any stretch of the imagination, but the bristles are really nice. They stay because they're a white nylon, but it's a nice brush. I'm glad they included a real brush rather than a water brush, just out of my own personal preferences. But and they come with a really cute capped end pencil. It's just an HB No. 2 pencil, but it's just pretty. It's got some Chinese calligraphy on it. It's got a weird picture of like a deer with a flower head and antlers. That's kind of weird, but it's a nice looking pencil, and yeah. Came with it. So yeah, I totally give these 2 thumbs up. Give it a shot if you're looking for inexpensive watercolors. You really can't beat it. I don't think this would hinder your learning of watercolors, which is another thing I look at when I'm looking at student grade paints. I don't want to recommend something that is going to make it difficult to learn watercolor. You can definitely learn with this. As for light fastness, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's another reviewer on YouTube. Her name is Kimberly Crick, and she has a great channel. And I think that she might have done a light fast test on this. So I would look for her review, see if she has. She usually does light fast tests on all of the sets that she reviews. And I saw her review and I thought, what a cute little paint set. So So I was glad I got the chance to review it. I will have links to this in the video description. Oh, there you go. See, it's not too hard to get that back on. I'll have links in the video description. Those are affiliate links, so if you do purchase it, I do get a small commission, and this was sent to me from the MIYA company, or from an associate of the MIYA companies, for review. So thank you so much. I've got to go stop my cat from drinking paint water because she's on my desk right now. Until next time, happy crafting.